On the show this week, we've got mail from Apple. Also, the mid-range smartphone space is hotting up and we have things to say on Tech Today. That's not all. Google Maps Street View finally comes to India. All that and a lot more. I'm your host Ayush Alavadi and this is Tech Today. Now you might be wondering why I'm sat here in the cafeteria with a MacBook right in front of me and my iPhone floating up above. Well, let me tell you, this is no magic trick. We'll get to the magic tricks later. What this essentially is the iPhone with a device which is exclusively on Tech Today. As minuscule and tiny as this looks, this is what makes continuity camera a very special technology feature. The Belkin mount in its initial stages is exclusively on Tech Today. Now, of course, this is a hardware solution. You can take it like this, snap it onto MagSafe, and you're good to go, but you need a couple of software tweaks as well to use continuity camera, which we'll get to. Firstly, your Mac should be compatible and running on Mac OS Ventura, the beta form. Along with that, you should have iOS 16, which again is in beta form. Download both of them, enroll for that program. In a few months, of course, this will be available to all of us with Apple devices. Once you have the software hacks in place, you snap this on. Be wise with the placement, of course. Keep it right here. And now I can use my iPhone as a webcam. This means much better photos, much better video, and of course, a lot of cool tricks which we're going to get to in a bit. Now, your phone doesn't even need to have the display on. In fact, it needs to be locked. The display should be off. And now this is your primary camera. You go up here in settings in the control center and you get several options of video effects and stuff like that. It automatically connects. Of course, you need to put continuity camera on iOS 16 on your iPhone. Then it shows up over here. The cool part is it's not restricted to the ecosystem and just works on FaceTime. It works on FaceTime, of course, but it also works on Zoom and other video calling apps. Now, of course, the better iPhone you have, the better imaging capabilities. You can put your Pro Max as well. It lasts on this mount, and this mount perhaps will only get better. But the settings that you have access to is something we should talk about as well. You have portrait mode, you have center stage, which means this will follow me around with the iPhone cameras. So a lot of cool features. Now it's time for the magic trick. Well, it's not a magic trick, but in terms of technology, it's wizardry by Apple. What they have done is giving you a top-down view. This is my work from anywhere setup. You have my laptop, that Belkin stand, the prototype, and then of course the iPhone connected to it. My Business Today magazine, as we all should. Then of course, I have a piece of paper and a pen only for the purpose of this review. The normal line of sight would be this. This is what I can see. And you know what? My iPhone lying up over there can see this. This is desk view or top-down view, which can boggle the smartest of technologists, camera persons behind the camera as well, because this can put a lot of us out of a job. How did they do this? Of course, there's image processing, lens correction, and they have an ultra-wide camera, which can even put a GoPro to shame. Whatever I'm doing over here, if you're a reviewer or you're unboxing something, I'm writing over here, see? And in real time, you can see that on a FaceTime call, on a Zoom call, this camera is pure magic. Now, this is some really cool tech, but of course, if you're nitpicking, there are a bunch of things which you can point out. This is work in progress, but if you keep your hands right here and you're typing something, you're doing an unboxing, it is a little distorted at some points, and that looks kind of strange because it is a weird fisheye sort of an effect. That said, look at where the camera lens is and look at the view that I am getting. So I think it's really cool in terms of what they're trying to do at Apple. Also, this works really well with flat objects. If you have a 3D object over here, look, the dimensions look a little awry when I'm placing this pen over here. So maybe it's best with flat objects. But if you ask us at Tech Today, we've gotten you a first look, an exclusive sneak peek of continuity camera in public beta phase and this Belkin mount, which is sort of fascinating me. Of course, I'm sure when this does come to market, it's going to be incredibly expensive. But even if it is, and if you're shelling out the big bucks on this, this will make your life a whole lot easier if you are working from home, if you are working from anywhere. And that's what we wanted to tell you on Tech Today. You know, I was just thinking, if you're an Android fan and you want a stock Android experience, there's not a lot of smartphone manufacturers which give that to you anymore. At one time, yesteryear, we had the OnePlus Oxygen OS, but now it's all Oppo for them as well, so that's not something that you'd really want. Then came the Nothing Phone 1 last week on the show. The Nothing OS is actually quite interesting because they've made it a lot like stock Android. Then you also have the Pixels, but in India, well, we don't have the Pixel 6 Pro, so there's no flagships. Can we get a stock Android experience on a Pixel? What's the Nothing phone like when you compare it with the Pixel?
Ayush, I have to stop you there. We're talking about the Nothing OS, the Color OS, the Oxygen OS, every other OS in the world except the OG one, the main stock Android experience. And you know who can give it to you? The main guys, obviously. So will the real Google please stand up? Now, I've spent some time with both these devices. What do I like and dislike about each? Let me talk about that. As far as the Nothing phone is concerned, it literally feels like a naked iPhone, and I'm not even making this up. A lot of people have actually said that. Except for the lights on the back, I don't find anything great happening with this, and it feels really cheap in hand. Sure, the Pixel 6 also has a plastic back. Doesn't look as cool, no fancy lights. I get it. This one wins. However, when it comes to actually using this device, I could not replace it with anything else. Definitely not any other Android phone right now. Now with the Google Pixel 6 series, Google has completely changed the design up, and this is what we're going to see in the upcoming Google Pixel 7 series as well. This very obvious camera bar at the back, a pretty flat back, otherwise kind of muted and stated colors. But I get it. Does it look as cool as this? It doesn't. Does it have shining lights at the back? It doesn't. But you know what? These lights are gonna get boring after a point. What are you gonna do after that? So besides the stock Android experience where, well, obviously this wins, the one other place these two phones are battling it out is the design. Let's get to the design. Now, Google has used a very standard designs for its older devices like the Pixel 4a, which we saw in 2020, the Pixel 5 series. The Google Pixel 6a has a 6.1-inch screen. There's an 8MP selfie camera in the front and two 12MP cameras at the back. Yep. No 108MP sensors, no 50MP sensors, no 48MP, just two 12MPs. And you know what? That's what's really cool about Google. Google has consistently used 12MP cameras on all their last devices, including the Google 6 and the Google 6 Pro, because big sensors don't matter to Google. What matters is computational photography. And that's what allows Google to have cool things on the phone like a magic eraser, a camouflage feature, real tone, etc. And the things just keep rolling in all the time. A Google Pixel camera can definitely at any point in time beat this one hollow. Well, because it's Google and it's OG, it's promised 5 years of security update on this device, so you're pretty good to go for quite some time. Now, the two things that could possibly be bummers for you guys: 1, no headphone jack. Well, this one doesn't have it either. And no micro SD slot, so you have to make do with that 128GB of space. I have taken extremely good reliable photos on this phone with just its 12MP camera array. Additionally, the more we say or the less we say about the stock Android experience, the better it is. Google also has Material You on this, so you can customize this phone in as many ways as you want. But those are small gimmicky things and it won't matter in the bigger scheme. However, with 5 years of security updates, a very nice in-hand feel, this phone wins for me. If you are going to spend that kind of money, like 43,000 bucks for this or 32,000 bucks for this and plus, what would you really choose? What would matter? I'll tell you what should matter is the user experience and how long this phone can be reliable for you. I actually know a few people who still use their Pixel 4a, and that's a 2-year-old phone and it works just as fine, gets all the security updates. Nothing literally rolled out an update within a week of launching their device. Now, Google is a company which seems to have decided that India is a market that doesn't deserve its flagship phones. God alone knows why. We've always got the Pixel A series devices coming in, and that too a lot later as compared to the rest of the world. So does Google think that we only deserve the A devices? Maybe it does. However, the fun fact is that we've never been let down by the A series devices. And as far as my experience goes, so far, the Pixel 6a is right up there.
Now, Street View is a very common feature on Google Maps across the world. But what if I told you that it's finally here in India after a decade-long wait? That's all thanks to a new geospatial policy here in India, but there's a lot of cool features as well. Tech Today, of course, was at the launch event, and here's a special report.
Google has finally announced the launch of its Street View experience in India. That's right, now when you use Google Maps, you'll be able to get an actual view of the street of a particular destination. You'll get a 360-degree view of the location, along with the option of scrolling in different directions to virtually travel on the street where your destination is located. So if you're getting nostalgic and you wish to visit the street you grew up on, or if you wish to see the streets around a house where you plan to settle, Google Maps will now give you that functionality and option. What's interesting is that the mapping has been done using 360-degree cameras mounted on cars, and the view you get in Street View, of course, won't be in real time. Street View will be available on Google Maps with fresh imagery licensed completely from local partners covering over 150,000 kilometers across 10 cities in India, including Bengaluru, Chennai, Delhi, and Mumbai. The company says there are plans to expand this feature to more than 50 cities by the end of 2022. While the feature looks really cool and can be very useful, there are a bunch of questions the team at Tech Today had as well. For instance, what if your house or your personal property is also mapped and included in the Street View that Google is offering to its users? Well, here's what the company had to say.
My first question after I heard the entire introduction to Google Maps Street View, which is the new feature they've rolled out, is it real time or is it already recorded and that is what the viewer gets to see?
It is not real time. So what it is street imagery is captured through our partners, Genesis and Tech Mahindra, and it comes into the systems. And we then, make sure that it's of good quality. We extract the right information from it, and then we present it. So when somebody puts in an address or a place, and you look at that Street View thumbnail, we show you the view. But it is as close to the real world that you can see. So it's an accurate representation of the world, but it's definitely not real time.
Now, if you're in the market for a new phone and you fancy a foldable device, then we'd say let's wait until a particular date. And that date is August the 10th, because Samsung Galaxy Unpacked is happening on August 10th. We're going to get you a live exclusive feed on Tech Today, on Business Today, but we also want to tell you what to expect. Here, have a look.
Wow, if that trailer is anything to go by, Samsung does mean business with its next flagship event, Galaxy Unpacked 2022 on August 10th. And yes, foldables will be the central theme this time around. So if you're in the market for a premium smartphone, we'd suggest you wait a little longer. Team Tech Today is here to tell you indeed what to expect. The star of the show surely will be the Samsung Galaxy Fold 4. The Fold 3 was in fact Tech Today's top-rated Android device last year. So it is interesting to see what Samsung does with the new version. Better performance with a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 and a more immersive display with a less prominent crease perhaps. This surely is the most anticipated Android flagship of 2022, and we can't wait longer here. If more compact clamshell phones are your thing, then the Flip 4 sounds quite like a good option for you to wait for. Again, faster performance, a better camera might just do the trick here. Also, if Samsung utilizes the external display more efficiently this time around, we won't be complaining. So if you're one of those Apple Watch fans, then a new Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 and Galaxy Watch Pro might just be something worth considering for you. In fact, last year's Watch 4 was the first product born out of the partnership between Google and Samsung. Version 2.0 might just be what the doctor ordered. The Galaxy Buds 2 Pro have also been leaked on a bunch of sites now, and we love the sound of last year's model, but let's see what kind of offers the company has in store this time around. If Samsung really wants to bring over the flat phone users to the foldable side, heavy discounts and freebies might just be the only best way forward. The company has invested heavily in foldables over the last few years and frankly is the only player which has been improving its product line with each passing year with water and dust resistance, flagship processors, and immersive displays. That said, battery life, creases, and functionality are potential areas for improvement here, and we can only hope that on August 10th, 2022, foldable tech gets even bigger and better so that more players get involved. Stay tuned to Tech Today for the big launch.
What do Amazon, Google, Apple, and Tesla have in common? They're some of the world's biggest tech companies, but they've also been rethinking their staffing needs. A lot of them have been recalibrating their business plans with talks of a slowdown or a recession. So, what does one of India's top tech companies' big boss have to say about the coming months? Well, have a look. Mr. Gurnani, as an industry veteran, a lot of us on the show and the tech community really wants to know, when we read all these articles about perhaps a slowdown or a recession coming our way, where do you stand? What are your thoughts? What's your outlook like?
My own assumption is leading indicators like housing prices, unemployment, or occupancy of restaurants, hotels, or airlines indicate the consumption has not really slowed down.
Correct.
Yes, inflation, energy crisis, or supply chain will necessarily create bumps in the journey. Right? Now, whether the bumps are short-lived or relatively long-lived, the consensus of most of my customers is that it will be a slowdown, but it will be for a much shorter cycle. Now, the second part is on the technology, role of technology. I think we all saw, even during the pandemic, is that digital consumption is only increasing. And digital consumption is also driving a level of business transformation which is unprecedented. I think that journey is still not complete. So digital transformation and business transformation will carry on despite of the slowdown, and Tech Mahindra is very, very closely working with our customers in various verticals, and we get this playback directly from our customers.
Sir, absolute pleasure as always speaking to you, and thank you for being so candid in our chat.
Thank you again, Ayush, and thank you again for having me here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, that's about all the time we have on this episode of Tech Today. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If there's something that you've particularly liked or disliked, you should let us know on our social media handles, and you can write to me and tell me what you want to see on the next week's show. There's a lot of surprises coming in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned to Tech Today. Until next week, adios.